Hello, David.
Hi, Tess.
Hi. We're at the Biohackers Conference. Hello. I would love to discuss more about your company. Mm-hmm. You're the founder of Heads Up. It's a mobile and web application that allows health profile practitioners and individuals to track data. So can you tell us more about it?
Yep, it's whenever we're trying to make changes in our health, we want to know that what we're doing is working. So when you think about going to a traditional doctor, they're going to run some blood work.
Yes. Yeah.
And then based on the results of that blood work, they might make a recommendation. Maybe they prescribe a medication, for example. And then you'll come back later and they'll retest. And they'll make sure, okay, is the medication working? Are they on the right dose? Do we need to modify anything? So they'll use that before and after blood work to help calibrate whether it's working or not. So same kind of concept, but instead of the doctor being the one who's looking at the data, we want to give it to the patient so they can see the changes, but also give it to practitioners who are working more on what I would call biohacking.
Yeah.
So instead of taking a medication, for example, maybe we prescribe something else. Maybe it's a nutritional change, and it's infrared sauna, and it's a nutraceutical instead of a pharmaceutical. So treating the same thing, same root cause, but a completely different approach. So you need ways to measure that change as well. And when I was working on my own health, I didn't really see any good tools that were available to help us measure those changes. So that's what Heads Up is. It's a space where you can very carefully measure changes in health and figure out what's working for you. Also try all the fun and exciting things in biohacking, because both you and I, we love all of this stuff.
Yes.
And we want to try it and we want to see if it's working or not. So it's also like, yes, you want to make sure your health is improving, but it's also a place to try all the cool new stuff on the market and figure out what works and tinker with your health. So that's what we created with Heads Up, is a place to measure your health.
Excellent. Yes, because when you have all the numbers in front of you, then you can see what's going on. You can make comparisons rather than having them in different places.
Yeah, you gave me an example earlier of clients who send you like a screenshot of their blood test report and it's like a picture on the phone. It's very hard to take that information and put it on a trend line.
Yes.
So that's a large part of what we do, is get that data out of like hard to work with formats and put it into a software program where it's easier to work with.
Yes, I see. And is it something easy for people to do? Is it complicated?
I think getting the system set up is the easy part. You know, if you have a device that you're using to measure your health, you connect it. It updates when you get your blood reports or your functional diagnostic, whatever diagnostics. You just basically upload those PDFs in the system, and then the software will get all the data organized for you. So I think that's the easy part. The hard part is figuring out what you want to do about your health.
Yes.
And that's where you need to work with your care team. Care team could be a coach, care team could be a functional doctor, could be an integrative doctor, could be a conventional allopathic doctor. So, and there's a million things you can do to your health. There's a lot of information out there. So the hard part is figuring out what you want to implement. The easy part is measuring.
That's true. Yes, after you get the results, the numbers, then what do I do with them now?
Yeah, and I guess if you don't get the results you want, then it's also, okay, now what do I want to try next? So you go investigate something else you might want to implement, and you try that. So the data is just the facts. Did it work or not?
Yeah.
And then you figure out what interventions you want to try. But, one of the things I loved in Peter Attia's book, I mentioned this earlier today, was as you get physically older, can your health numbers actually get better? Can you age in reverse?
Yes.
Basically. So, for example, he gives the use case of VO2 max,
Mm-hmm.
cardiovascular fitness.
Yeah.
So look at the normal range for your age. So let's say you're 40, and optimal for someone your age is a VO2 max. I can't remember. Let's just say it's 50 is optimal for that range. So then what he says is, now go look at the optimal range for someone who's 30. And maybe it's actually much higher.
Yeah.
And so aim for that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I look at that, applying that same logic to all of our health data.
Oh, yes.
Your hemoglobin A1C,
Sure,
your body composition, your blood pressure. Like, as the calendar years go on, the numbers should go in the opposite direction if you're biohacking properly.
Right, exactly, absolutely.
That's the fun part. Like when you got numbers of a 25-year-old and you're 60,
yeah. And
that means you're just thriving into your later years of life.
Absolutely, and it shows you that what you're doing is working and it's empowering.
Absolutely, and we're in a unique time in history because we have access to so many incredible ways to improve our health. You think about it, we're here at this hotel recording this interview. Right across the street is Whole Foods.
Yes.
I can go buy organic produce, grass-fed beef, the highest quality foods on planet Earth. I can just go buy those and have access to those. And so now we're at this event here, we have in this incredible biohacking technology. So like we're in this window where there really is no reason that you should not be able to get progressively healthier as you get chronologically older.
Yes, no reason at all. And especially when you have an awareness, then you know what to do.
Yeah, if the awareness and the will and the desire is there.
Absolutely.
Obviously those ingredients have to be there. But we have access to so many tools right now that can optimize us in ways that we're honestly the first generation that's had all of this stuff. So who knows what the possibilities are with our health and our lifespan.
Oh, yes. But I think, it's looking promising. Technology is helping us.
Yeah.
And people are more motivated now to do things for the health. They realize they need to take charge rather than leave it to someone else.
Yeah, I think people's mindset is changing a lot. That's evidence of just the fact that these conferences even exist. There's just more people curious. Okay, what more can I do to feel better, look better, perform better? So I think there's just also the awareness in society is also increasing. And that makes it more fun just to be a part of it all.
Yeah, absolutely. And you feel like you have other people who have the same interests. You're not doing it alone.
Yeah, we're not just a bunch of crazy biohacker closet people doing all these weird experiments on our health. It's really mainstream now. And I remember us 7 years ago, I was on the keto diet. And I knew it was mainstream because I was on a business trip in small town Oregon. I was at the In-N-Out Burger. Okay. Now I was getting the In-N-Out Burger protein style, so lettuce wrap, because I was traveling. I was on a long road trip. But I was in this little town, and I could overhear the people behind me talking about the keto diet. And I'm like, okay, if we're in small town rural America, and that's part of the conversation at the In-N-Out Burger, it's mainstream.
Yes,
Now at the In-N-Out Burger, you're hearing people talking about cold plunge and infrared saunas, and it's now coming up to a higher level of awareness. So the good news about that is it means that there's more people making investments in their health, which means there's more innovation that's going to come into the space because innovation needs a market, it needs customers, it needs revenue, but capitalism. So the more people that are into it, the more innovation that comes in, and we just keep seeing more and more amazing stuff coming on the market for health optimization.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, that's true. You see technology now. I mean, even going to the conference, you see all these different things you can wear, you can use, to try to optimize your health.
Yes, I think it's unlimited, and some of them work better than others. Some work for you and not for me.
Exactly.
So that's where we have to do a little bit of our own testing.
Oh, yeah.
And figure out, okay, of all of the millions of things I can do to make myself feel better, look better, perform better, which ones do I want to try, and how do I know if it works for me? So, my contribution to biohacking is to create an easy way for people to get objective data so that they can have some numbers to see did it work or not. You and I have been talking earlier about the quality of our sleep. And just, from wearing a sleep tracking device, even when I'm traveling on the road in hotels, I can see how well my body's recovering. And this venue right here, it's like had some of the best sleeps on the road I've ever had, mainly because the room stays cold at night. Yeah. But I have actual really reliable data to know how well my body's recovering. I'm on a 10-day road trip right now. So I'm looking very carefully to make sure that I'm monitoring my recovery properly. So there's just lots of fun and exciting ways for us to measure what we're doing. And, I encourage people to tinker with their health. Yeah. And just look for things that are going to make improvements and then find the next thing and the next thing. And there's always another level, another peak that you can go to with your health. And it just becomes a journey of self-discovery.
Yeah. And the app, as you said, it allows people to see what's going on. They can make comparisons. They can even see what's happened 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And this way they can see, even though it might be normal for someone else, but my numbers are changing. Something's going on inside.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's fantastic.
Well, chronic diseases don't show up overnight. Yeah. If you look at heart disease, for example, type 2 diabetes, most diseases of our modern society, they take decades before they show up. The problem is that we don't have systems that are looking at decades of our data. So oftentimes the clues were there before the diagnosis. In fact, the clues were there long before, but you either weren't looking at the right numbers or the numbers were all over the place and nobody could see that, hey, it's subtle, but it's been going in the wrong direction for 10 years. And if you would have caught that pattern 5 years earlier, that could have potentially saved the diagnosis. So to your point, having as much history on our health as possible, it's like the records on your car, keeping track of all of those so you have a full service history on the vehicle. That's really important for our body as well.
Exactly. And when you go to a new doctor, at least then you can just give them all your numbers. Then you doesn't have to go and try and find the records from different places.
Yeah, it's very helpful for them to see, okay, what were your results like before you were my patient? Maybe you've got 2 or 3 other providers, but you can show them the numbers from those providers. It helps them make a better decision as well.
Well, we're coming to the end of our interview, David. What would be one thing you would suggest to biohackers that if there's one thing they want to do to improve health, what would they try?
Well, actually, I have 2 things. Can I get an exception?
Yes.
Okay. Blood sugar?
Clear.
Figure that out. Master it. And the way to master it is with continuous glucose monitor. So I would say blood sugar mastery. Number 2, sleep.
Good.
Become a professional sleeper. And the good thing about both of those things, Tess, is they're easy to measure and they're easy to improve. So get your blood sugar, get your sleep dialed in, become masters of those 2 things, and you'll be 90% the way there.
Exactly. Sleep, I always encourage, as a health coach, I always say, asking people, are you sleeping enough? Because it's something that we cut out very easily, especially at the end of the day, and we feel, we can catch up the next day. But sleep is very good for you. That's a time when your body does a lot of work to repair itself. Besides, it's free, and I always say you can do it alone.
Yeah, but some people can't sleep for lots of reasons and they need help. That's where experts like you come in. Stress, environment, there's lots of things that even if we want to sleep, we can't. And that's where we need experts to come in and help us, coaches, for example. But both of those numbers would be my top 2 things. If you optimize nothing other than those 2 numbers, I think those will get you the most mileage.
Well, thank you, David Korsunsky,
Thank you, Tess.
and thank you for coming.
My pleasure.
Unlock your full potential at the Biohackers World Conference and Expo in Los Angeles on March 29th and 30th. Connect with leaders in health optimization, learn the secrets to longevity, boost your performance, and dive into the latest biohacking and wellness innovations. Don't miss out. Tickets are going fast.